All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give our praises, glory, and honors unto Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua by Hashem Chakudash. The honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the 144,000, as well as to the rest of the hopeful elect out there. This is your brother, the priest Desire One from GMS Atlanta, back with another edifying video. And I have a few headlines here, and things are about to turn up around the world. World War III has popped off, and it's just going to increase more. More nations are going to get involved between these strikes that's going on between Israel and Iran. Of course, America, Russia and China haven't done anything as of yet, but we know because of prophecy, things are going to escalate as well. Now, what is going on is there is going to be repercussions behind this. Okay, the economy, the different economies around the world are going to be affected in a major way. And I spoke a little bit about this before, I believe, also in the video I did yesterday. The inflation and prices of things are going to start to affect consumers around the world. We've already seen gas prices go up here in the States, so this is going to lead to economic turmoil. And this is also prophesied in the scriptures. Okay? So what I have here is an article from Fox, and it says, now this is back in January. It says, economist warns coming financial crisis will make 2008 look like Sunday school picnic. All right, and it says Peter Schiff says the gold rally signals looming dollar collapse. And we've been saying that this is going to happen for years, and these economists have too as well. Let's just read some of this. It says as gold prices keep rising and silver has increased too. Okay. It says American economist Peter Schiff says investors should view the rally as more than a hedge, calling it a warning that inflation is speeding up. The U.S. dollar is losing global trust, and a major economic reckoning may be near. It says gold and silver are warning about a bigger crisis that's going to hit either later this year or maybe next year. We are headed for a U.S. dollar crisis and a sovereign debt crisis, Schiff said Tuesday afternoon on the Claiming Countdown. Central banks are buying gold to back up their currencies. They're getting rid of dollars. They are getting rid of treasuries, he continued. We are headed for an economic crisis again that will make the 2008 financial crisis look like a Sunday school picnic. So it's soon going to get real. Okay? So we're just patiently waiting for this society to collapse. Because once that happens, that's when Esau is going to introduce the mark of the beast, which is the microchip implant. It's going to introduce the digital ID system along with these digital currencies, and that's going to be the shift toward the mark. Okay, and we know that once they introduce the mark, that's going to be the end of this world. Okay, the end of Esau's rulership. So let me get a scripture here. Let's go to Zephaniah, the first chapter here. Zephaniah chapter 1. And verse 11. It says, howl ye inhabitants of Maktesh. Maktesh was a major commerce city in the ancient world, and that is now being equated to Babylon and this system. It says, for all the merchant people are cut down. Those that are making money, right? The traders. All they that bear silver are cut off. I literally just read about the gold and silver prices going up. Right? But also their money, their currency, all right, their monetary system. It says, and it shall come to pass at that time that I will search Jerusalem with candles and punish them that are settled on their lees. So that's Jacob's trouble, right? That say in their heart, the Lord would not do good, neither will he do evil. Okay. Let me go up here. Verse 10. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashmi Yahushai, that there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gate, and an howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. That was a major port in place of commerce. A lot of the economy came through fishing in the ancient world. Now the major money is made on the stock market, not the fish markets, but the stock markets. All right, and then it goes into the merchants being cut down. All right, but it says here that a great crashing is going to come. Okay, so a great economic crash is coming. All right, so that was a month ago. Now I want to go into some more of this. Now this is from Reuters here. And I spoke on this before. Europe braces for economic hit from Iran conflict. So this situation is going on. This war that's breaking out is going to affect everybody. Okay? And I may have spoke on this article before, but I'll read it again. It says the U.S. military assault on Iran threatens to push up inflation and make a dent in Europe's already meager economic growth. The attacks have disrupted commercial shipping in the Gulf, a key source of fuel and petroleum products for Europe. The interruption immediately pushed up the prices of these energy supplies on financial markets. So not only is gold and silver going up, the different supplies on the markets are going up. So Europe is going to get hit. So guess what's going to happen because of the economy in Europe is going to be affected? They're going to have to get involved in this war. These EU, UK, NATO nations are going to have to get involved because war, the same thing that happened in World War II. Okay? These nations will get involved. Money from the different, especially with the U.S., it drives up, the war effort, puts people to work. And it's going to happen again this time around, but it's going to push pretty much production towards the war effort. But meanwhile, as you can already see, all these other departments and industries around America, they're failing. So it's going to be a bad crash. That's why it says a great crashing will come, right? And it's starting with Europe, and it's going to come over here to the U.S. as well. All right. Let's go to this next one here. Yeah, so once again, it says, this is from Forbes, worse than the 2008 financial crisis. Gold surge triggers serious U.S. dollar warning as Bitcoin price suddenly drops. Now the U.S. dollar, the petrodollar is the world reserve currency, backed by the oil. And where are they fighting at, right? They're fighting in the Middle East, where you have major oil reserves. You got Iran, you got Afghanistan, you got Iraq, you got Saudi Arabia. So these nations are going to fight for these resources. Let's read some of this. So it says, one second, Bitcoin and crypto. So this is for these, those of you into the the digital currencies. Bitcoin and crypto prices have been left in the dust by gold's huge rally over the last year. The Bitcoin price has dropped under the closely watched 90,000 per Bitcoin level as crisis engulfs the U.S. dollar. Now, with traders braced for a Federal Reserve game changer, a crisis of confidence in the U.S. dollar has been predicted to see Bitcoin catch up with gold. So the economy is being affected. Things are changing. The war is going to affect these things. As a matter of fact, because this was back in January. Let me see if they got anything new. Okay, this says these companies stand to benefit from Trump's Iran war Exxon, Raytheon, and more. Yeah, the same typical billion-dollar companies. Let me see here. Let me just look for, let's see, gold. Let's see what comes up. Okay, here we go. Now let me get something on. Okay, so this is more recent here. Now it says gold, silver prices plunge as Iran conflict sparks inflation concerns, strengthens dollar. So it's volatile. This is from March 3rd. Okay. It says the price of silver plunged Tuesday after the metal hit its highest value since January. Right. I read what happened with January with the increase. Now it's decreasing. With gold also dropping as the United States and Israel's war on Iran sparks inflation fears as the dollar strengthens to a 5-week high. So the markets are up and down right now. You know, so that's going to eventually lead to a major shift. The price of silver was $80 as of 10:20 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is on the 3rd, down more than 9%. Remains slightly above the low of $78 earlier in the morning. Silver has lost a large chunk of value since Monday, and it changes every day. So this isn't the current price. But my point is to bring out what is happening because of the war and how things before the strikes, there was a warning of a major crash, and now after, we're seeing the same thing. So now they're pushing into the dollar. Okay, right now. So things are going to change. Okay, let me read this here. UN risk imminent. Okay, hold on. All right, so they want me to subscribe to this article. So let me do this. What you can do is UN risk. Let me see. Economic failure. Let me see if that's the right. Refresh this. Okay, UN risk imminent financial collapse. Financial collapse, because they post these in other articles. You ain't got to subscribe to these major outlets. So this is coming out of the UN. UN risk imminent financial collapse. Secretary General warns. Let me go here. So it says the United Nations is facing an imminent financial collapse in 2026, with warnings that cash reserves could run out by July due to massive unpaid dues. The crisis is primarily driven by the United States, which owes 95% of the over 1.56 billion 1.56 billion in outstanding payments, alongside systemic outdated budgetary rules that force the UN to return unspent funds it never actually received. So these nations is in trouble. So the war is actually, as they say, war is good for business. Okay. So this is just in the last couple of weeks that we're seeing, and now the Iran-Israel-U.S. War is fluctuating the market. Okay. So let me do this here. Let me get another scripture. I'm not going to make this long. I just, saw these articles, and we always speak about eventually the collapse is coming, and it's going to come. It's going to come. Let me see. I believe that is the book of James, the 5th chapter. Yep, James chapter 5 and verse 1, right, under the misuse of riches. Who's misused the riches? Esau. All right, these elites. It says, "Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you." That's these international banking families, these these small hat families, these, the Edomites behind the scenes that run things, the super elite, the super rich. It says, "Your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten," because this whole system is based off of fraud, corruption. We know about the e-files coming out, so we know they're corrupted, they're wicked, satanic, and they've taken over the world by villainy and thievery. So it says, "Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rest of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days." So eventually the destruction by fire is going to come, and that's what's going to ultimately take Esau off his high horse. Okay? "Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud." And we know that this current system is a fraudulent system. It says, "They crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth," which is the Lord of hosts, which is Yahweh Shemel Shai. So Jake is going to be defended by the Lord, right? The elect will be delivered from Esau in this captivity. Verse 5, "Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton," right, doing whatever they pleased. "Ye have nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you." So who's going to stop Esau and ultimately take him down? Yahweh Shai when he returns. Okay. So he's trying to bring about this new digital system, and it's going to come about, but ultimately the Lord is going to take him down. It says, "Be patient, therefore, brethren, until the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth." That's the elect, the first fruits, the chosen of the Israelites. All right, you so-called black Hispanics and Native Americans. It says, "And hath long patience for it until he receive the early and latter rain." So the Lord is going to bring about these prophecies. His word is going to come to pass, and ultimately the salvation will come as well. Okay. There was another scripture. Oh no! So I want to get this here. Let's see if it'll come up. If I had it up. Okay, well that was it. So the crisis, the war that's has happened is going to eventually there's going to be a collapse and a shift. As a matter of fact, let me do this, because there was a Tucker Carlson interview. Let me see, Tucker. There was a recent Tucker Carlson interview. All right, here we go. And he had an interview with this woman that was speaking about the digital currencies. And I want to get this news here. No, it should be a few days ago. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is it here. Crypto briefing. Okay, because this is also going to be what the okay, here we go. So you see this crypto briefing. Catherine Austin Fitz. The control grid enforces surveillance and fiscal control. AI is central to managing financial data and the push toward the cashless economy, raising privacy concerns. Right. This is from Tucker Carlson. This is what I want to get here. Tucker Carlson show with Catherine Fitz on control grid, banks' role in war. So let's click on this. And it says that there's a transcript here. So I'm not going to try and play any videos. So yeah, so this woman here was speaking about the coming digital currency system. So let me read this here. So it says, in this compelling interview, Tucker Carlson sits down with Catherine Austin Fitts to explore the rapid emergence of a control grid, a digital infrastructure designed to monitor and regulate every aspect of human life. And I've been speaking about this, all right? All them videos and articles are brought out about digital ID and biometrics and how they're putting them in the airports and in your smartphones, and you need them to travel, and you're going to need it for hospitals and all these different registrations. All these different countries around the world are setting up for the citizens to have an ID, you know. It says Fitz breaks down the dangers of programmable money and digital IDs, revealing how central banks are leveraging these tools to bypass traditional governance and enforce social credit systems. Right? This is what we've been talking about as well. Okay? It says the discussion highlights the critical importance of maintaining analog systems like cash to preserve individual freedom in an increasingly digitized world. Ultimately, Fitz offers a powerful call to action, urging viewers to move beyond fear and focus on building independent, resilient communities for the future. And that's not going to happen because, you know, prophecies are going to come into effect. They are going to introduce the digital system, but it's not going to last long. So what I want to do here, I don't want to get all into this. Because this is good, but I want to get into what it mentions about war. Okay, I have to come back to this article here. This is good. Let me see if I can, let me see here. Let me see, war. Bear with me a second. Software, hardware. Where are these pop-ups coming from? Okay, here we go. Let me see here. So this is back with the first war. It says, and all those systems put you in what I call the panopticon. So we saw in the Middle East with the first war with Iran. Now we're here again, 2026. We saw 11 leaders out of 12 sort of top leaders in science and government. Ooh, look at this. They were unalived because they're literally tracking everyone. And they can't identify them, and they can identify them and track them. And then you have invisible weaponry that can take them out or can identify missile strikes. So is this what they did with the Ayatollah? Because Iran and these other countries, they're also setting up these digital surveillance systems. The 12-day war against Iran and digital targeting. May I ask you, this Tucker Carlson, so you're talking about the 12-day war against Iran in June of 2025. Catherine Fitts, correct. So what I want to get here, okay, continue reading. Oh yeah, this is good. I'm gonna have to go into this in a separate video. I wanted to hit more points because basically with the war, they were able to set things up, and they need the war to bring about this digital system. That's basically what's going on. Okay, and they're using technology. Esau is using technology. He's using all kinds of tracking and surveillance. You know, you got Palantir. He's using these things to be able to. He's using these things to end the war, to bring about this coming system. It says now that's why they need to crash this old system and this old current financial system. It says now it's both sides of the uniparty. They come at it in different ways and they do different things. But this is ultimately what this is doing, is this is going to be the point where the central bankers, whether they do it with a central bank digital currency or private stable coins and asset tokens, are setting the world up so that they can control your financial transactions literally in real time with the equivalent of a social credit system. And then you go into biometrics and the digital ID system. So yeah, this is that's why we're seeing the economy is going to eventually crash, man. Because what's coming is the mark. Okay, listen to this. Tucker Carl, I have so many questions. I've probably been in 6 or 7, 8 countries in the last month. And I think in every single country I had biometrics taken, either fingerprint or facial recognition. What role do biometrics play in the control grid? That's part of the digital ID system and the facilities, and that facilitates the surveillance. And it's interesting. So we do a lot to promote cash, but I think there are many things we can do to slow down or stop the digital control system. You're not going to stop it. But one of it is by embracing analog and keeping analog alive. Well, analog was done away with back in Obama's presidential administration. Because to go to a really serious programmable money, you need an all-digital financial system. And how are they going to bring about an all-digital financial system? By collapsing the current system. That's what's going to happen. Okay. All right, so that's it. A lot of pop-ups and things. Like I said, I might go into this article more because there was a whole lot said here. But so these financial crises that we're seeing, the gold and silver going up, going down, eventually it's going to the crash, that great crash is going to come, and they're going to switch over. So we're watching out for that. So with that, I'm going to close this lesson out. All praises, honor, and glory goes into Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Hope you all were edified. Shalom.